will enjoy humbling you.
The might of Maldraxxus protects me.
I suppose I have time to listen.
Enemies approach. Man the mirrors. Those that try to breach our...
Got the best goods you're bound to find. Just don't ask too many questions. Come back when you need something.
Have you come to confess?
Oi! This droughts gonna be the end of all of us.
My master did say to serve everyone. Another satisfied patron.
My fucking mic has been muted this whole time. Jesus Christ. That's funny. Max, Ashuna, I can't pronounce your name, I'm sorry, I appreciate the follows. 69th follow, best number there is, let's go. And thank you guys, I'll be right back. Nick Pauls, what up? All you guys, what up? I'll be right back. I'm back. I should go by life, honestly. I'm not going to, but I should. What are we doing? Explosives. Fuck my life. I suck. I fucking suck. And I hit all four like an idiot. Wow, I'm bad. I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad. Calm. Cool and collective. I might switch my main, you know. Oh. Let me see here. Now it's doing it on that. God damn it. Our last, thank you. Appreciate you. I hate my life, dude. Oh. I'm doing 8. We'll move into higher keys a bit. I think. I needed that back last night, but well. We got straight carried by that 2K-er. Shit was funny. I'll watch him. I was just kidding. What's my groove? It seems like a fun little tank, huh? Sevens. 8 Halls of Atonement. I'm down. Yank. Oh, bitch. I got no spit. No, I haven't. Actually, let's see what's going on with my park.
Ebonblade forces are positioned nearby. They will defend you.
I'm out of range. Target.
Really thinking about it though.
Your bonds are broken. Hurry, before the guards return.
Good. Okay.
Porofessor is an in-game desktop app. Once the game starts, Porofessor scouts your opponents. Learn how well they play their champs, how aggressive they are, and what blind spots you can exploit. Outsmart your opponents with Porofessor. Download the in-game desktop app now.
Hello friends, this is Growl. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know on how to play Mistweaver in 9.1 Mythic Plus. This video is going to be basic and mostly just cover my choices and why I do what I do. It'll also cover everything that I've learned playing Mistweaver over the first season of Shadowlands. In this way, I hope it'll be helpful to those who are just picking up the spec for the first time, as well as returning players looking to figure out what's going on with the patch. I've definitely neglected my poor Mistweaver quite a bit, and I've recently just started playing it a lot again in some keys anywhere from 14s and 15s to all the way up to 20s and 21s. And I'll say that even though my gear isn't that good, it feels really fun. I've been really enjoying this class. I think it's actually really underrated as a healer, and even though it isn't the best healer for sure, it definitely gets the job done. In a lot of situations, it can even be better than a paladin or a shaman. I do also make tons of other stuff like video reviews on this channel, as well as stream high keys, so don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and go follow my Twitch. I'll leave links to all that stuff, as well as my weak auras and UI stuff that you'll find for me in the description. So let's get started. Been under the weather today, apologize for that, hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. So Mistweaver originally didn't really feel like it had a place, and the fist weaving never really felt great, so it was just kind of like a turret healer that would end up costing a lot of mana. It's almost like a worse holy priest. But ever since the introduction of the ancient teachings of the monastery legendary, it really sort of brought back, at least in my eyes, the whole idea of mostly DPSing and doing some healing on the side. And in my opinion, in dungeons, it actually feels really, really good. I think it feels similar to Holy Paladin in a way where you're in melee, you're DPSing. The big differences between Mistweaver and Holy Pally is that Mistweaver isn't quite as brutally offensive as Holy Pally is. You know, Holy Paladin is a plate healer, it does more damage, it has stronger cooldowns. However, the nice thing about Mistweaver is that it's actually a pretty dang good healer outside of melee. You know, Holy Paladin, when you pull a Holy Paladin away from the mobs, it's gonna have a hard time healing. You know, when you can't Crusader Strike and you can't, like, Holy Paladin is not a ranged healer, but Mistweaver can actually blast single target healing and a little bit of AoE as well when you're far away. So in that sense, I think that even for a beginner player who wants to play a melee healer, I think I would recommend a Mistweaver over a Holy Paladin, in generally speaking. I feel like it's just more flexible. So in 9.1, Mistweaver has received the damage buff, and because we're almost always running Ancient Teachings, which is converting some of our damage into healing, it's a damage and healing buff, right, which is great. Also, there's been a little bit of mana cost reduction. I've heard a lot of people talking about how Mistweaver is really, really mana starved. I didn't really find that to be the case when I was playing Mistweaver. Generally, I think that that's people underutilizing their offensive abilities and their fist weaving and overspending their casting abilities. I would almost see it as a positive element in Mistweaver, that you can spend a bunch of mana and do a bunch of healing quick. You know, again, going back to Holy Paladin, you can't really dump your mana as a Holy Paladin to do a lot of healing. But in Mistweaver, in an emergency, you can throw out Essence Font, you can throw out Enveloping Mist, pump Big Vivifies, and actually do quite a bit of healing. It will cost you mana, though, so you have to use it sparingly. So for race, my guy is a panda. I don't think race really matters too much. If you're really trying to min-max, I'd say probably Dwarf for Alliance or Blood Elf for Horde, but again, you know, race doesn't really matter. If you want to be a panda in full BFA gear, do it, follow your heart, you know. For stat priority, I think it's going to be a little different from person to person, so this is what I would recommend. Keep pumping haste, get more and more haste, until you feel a point where either your heals are feeling really weak or you're starting to run out of mana. And then in that situation, start leaning more towards crit and burst, and, you know, probably a slight priority over crit, but it's not a big difference. So depending on exactly what your playstyle is, you know, you may run out of mana earlier or later, depending on the groups that you play in or whatever. I think in some, like, really high-end groups, you might see some Mistweavers going really, really high haste, like 25, 30%. But I think for a lot of casual players or people who are less experienced, or if your team is zoo animals, you're going to run out of mana really quick, and your heals will maybe feel a little bit less potent. So
Just
maybe
cause is
somewhere
always worth
a
fighting
15 to 20% haste level might be
Never
better.
lose hope.
Mastery for Mistweaver is actually a really, really good healing stat. The main issue is that it doesn't really help your damage that much. So my advice to you would be, as you're starting off, I wouldn't really worry about stats so much. I would just mainly look for stuff that's high item level. But as you start to progress and you start to get more confident and you start to get further in, you may want to start weaning away from mastery and trying to pump your haste a little bit, or your crit and your verse, and just try and lower down the mastery just so you can be doing a little bit more damage and keys. So trinkets are a bit hard. You can see my Mistweaver struggled quite a bit with trinkets this season. The first go-to that I would recommend is from Mists of Tyrannus Scythe. It is the Changeling. Changeling is a great stat stick. You can convert it to haste, or crit or haste, whichever you want. It's a great trinket for that. So there's some good new raid trinkets. So a couple that I've been looking at. One for sure I think that'll be good is the Titanic Ocular Gland. This is just going to give you a bunch of crit when you're high health, which will be hopefully often. I think this is going to be a good trinket if you can get a hold of it. Another one that apparently is good as this one, however, the Carved Ivory Keepsake only does healing, so again, it might not be the go-to for Mythic Plus, although it'll do some good healing if you can get your hands on it. If you can't get a hold of raid trinkets, another option would be an unused dungeon trinket, either the Ruby from Theater of Pain or the Quantum Device from the other side. Using these trinkets in combination with your Chi-Ji, or just in general when you need big healing, it's going to boost that even more, and it's going to turn it into a really, really strong cooldown. And since that's basically all you got, having it on use for that is going to feel kind of nice. So for enchants, pretty standard. You want a Stamina and Leech or Avoidance Cape. Usually I use Avoidance, but I happen to have Leech on this guy. Plus 30 stats on your chest, 15 Intellect on your bracers. And again, I already talked about stats, so that'll be, ideally you go towards haste, and then as you feel like you're starting to run out of mana or you want some more potency, you can go towards crit, and you want Celestial Guidance on your weapon. For consumables, hopefully I have all of them on my Mistweaver here. You want Shadow Core Oil, just give you a little bit of damage boost, Spectral Flask of Power for a flask, armor kits. I don't have any potions, but you can use... I would probably use Phantom Fire potions if you're using Shadow Core just for a little bit more damage. And you also have the Augment runes as well. Again, usually don't use those, but you can in a very high key, or if you're trying to impress somebody. Also for food, ideally you just have the feasts that give you intellect, but because those are expensive, you can also just use like the crown roasts that give you the haste buff. So I talked about the legendary a lot, Ancient Teachings. This is probably what I'd recommend for all forms of content. It is fun to play, it's strong, it's a good mix of healing and damage. Overall, a really good Lego. Basically, you cast Essence Font, then as soon as your cast ends, you get a buff, and then every time you use your DPS single target abilities, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, or Rising Sun Kick, it heals somebody nearby. An important thing to consider is that the range is only 20 yards. So very often you'll have a situation where you have a hunter that's out in Narnia that, isn't really getting your healing. So you're going to need to either A, spot heal them, or sometimes I'll like shift around on the mobs. Like for example, let's say my hunter is over here on the left. I might kind of come around here and then try and that way if I'm doing any fist weaving, I'll try and like inch over this way to try and make sure I grab them and be hitting the mobs there.
Wow.
But other than that, that's just something you have to consider, especially in pugs. A lot of the times, 20-yard range on an ability is not very much. So your casting range is 40 yards. So think of it as half of your casting range is how far those Ancient Teachings heals are going. Another option, if you're really, really against the fist weaving playstyle, if you just want to be a caster, you can make Tear of the Morning. Tear of the Morning is a really, really good healing Lego. However, just fun-wise and damage-wise, I think Ancient Teachings is going to beat it out. So if you really want to, you can make Tear. It is an option. I think all the new Covenant Legos don't look too exciting. I might be wrong on those, but I don't really see any reason to run any of the Covenant Legos. So for Covenants, you have two options. I'm going to actually pull up my Soulbind calculator here. So you have two options. Kyrian is going to be the defensive option. Kyrian, your ability Weapons of Order, you just press it, gives you a bunch of mastery. Mastery doesn't do great for healing, but it's really good for damage. It also turns your Essence Font into a little bit of an AoE heal, which you're pressing all the time from Ancient Teachings anyway. For Soulbinds and Kyrian, I would run through Kalea. You get a lot of really nice crit buffs here. You have Lithopath as well as Pointed Courage. Then the two potencies I would run are Strike with Clarity or not Rising Sun Revival. I would run Resplendent Mist. And okay, it doesn't want to put it on there, but I would run Resplendent Mist and Strike with Clarity. Those are just generally your two best potencies for Mistweaver. Honestly, all the finesse and the endurance conduits are a little bit underwhelming to me. I don't really see that much use out of them. You can see in this tree, I just threw like 3 different endurance ones on there. Ultimately, they won't make that much of a difference. You can just pick these based off of what abilities you like to use or that you think are good. And for Necrolord, which is, I would say, the more offensive option, if you're looking for a more healing-focused playstyle, then you would play Kyrian. If you're looking for a more offensive damage-focused playstyle, you want to play Necrolord. Bone Dust Brew is nice because it does damage. You can put it on enemies, you can deal damage, it deals more damage. However, it's a little bit clunky for healing. The range of this is really small. I didn't really like it for healing. One of the nice things about Mistweaver is you don't need everyone stacked up to heal. All of your heals just kind of spread out and do their thing. And needing your team to come together to use Bone Dust Brew feels clunky, so generally I'm only using this ability on, like, myself, the tank, and the mobs. And if, you know, maybe there's other melee in range, but... So keep in mind, Bone Dust Brew is going to be nice for dealing damage, but it's going to be worst for healing. But Mistweaver is a great healer, and I don't really think you need your Covenant ability to heal. And I think most high-key Mistweavers are probably going to play Necrolord. So I would take the Emony tree. I'm not 100% sure on this. I haven't got to do too much testing with Necrolord, but I would be taking the Emony tree, and I would just be taking this path all the way down with all the potencies. So we still have, we have Resplendent Mist and our Covenant one again. The third potency I would take, I guess, is going to be Jade Bond. This makes your Crane a little bit stronger, gives it a shorter CD just slightly, which, you know, is okay. And then again, I'm just taking some random endurance and finesse conduits whenever I see fit. So again, Kyrian for a more healing focused, Necrolord for a little bit more damage focused.
Welcome to Raid Shadow Legends. If you're wondering just what you're getting into, Raid Shadow Legends is a free-to-play game for your PC or Mac running on the Plarium Play platform. Raid isn't just any game, it's one of the world's most popular turn-based fantasy role-playing games, or RPGs for short. You'll collect awesome champions, train them to fight in teams, and send them into battle against bad guys, evil monsters, and rival players. But it's so much more than that. With over 400 different champions to collect and experiment with, millions of players, and dozens of different challenges and play modes, Raid is thousands of hours of exploration, competition, and tactical gameplay, all with drop-dead, gorgeous art and animation. Sounds like a lot to take in? Don't worry. It's easy to pick up. There's a great community to help you out, and best of all, it's free. And it all starts with Plarium Play.
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna monk.
So let's talk about Plarium Play. Plarium Play is our official downloader. It allows you to run Raid Shadow Legends and other Plarium games as native applications right here on your Mac or PC. So what's that mean? It means you can play Raid with amazing graphics and butter-smooth performance. It'll automatically update the game for you and connect you with other players in chat. If you're feeling fancy, it also lets you customize your game's graphics, performance, and even sync automatically with Raid on your mobile device. Plarium Play doesn't install malware or third-party software onto your computer. It does not sell your information to third parties. It does not sign you up to mailing lists or spam emails from other companies. Yeah, we just don't do that. Okay, the first step is registering a new player account. Go ahead and choose a username and password and enter your email address. If you're already a mobile player, click Login and use the email address and password you already entered in your mobile device. When you're done, download the Plarium Play installer file by clicking Download. Once the download finishes, just run the file, follow the prompts, and then just kick back while the installer does its thing. Great, now you've got Plarium Play. Just one step left. Click Install under the Raid banner and wait for the game to update. This should only take a few minutes.
What's up, Boss Master?
And
How you
bam,
doing?
you did it. Raid is up and running. You're ready to start playing. Now press play, get your first taste of combat, and choose your first champion. If you need help in the game, there are some great player guides on the Raid Shadow Legends YouTube channel, the official Discord server, our forum, Reddit, and more. Good luck, and we'll see you in the arena.
This is for the dreamers. All the doers and schemers with
everybody doing
side
today?
hustles galore. The I got nexters and the why not meers. And everyone hungry to make it on your...
Hello friends, this is Growl. I get asked on my stream often about different parts of my UI, so I wanted to compile a video about the most frequently asked "what is this" questions, and also help with some of the common troubleshooting problems when setting up. This is going to be an intermediate level guide. I'm not going to go over in detail how to install or set up basic add-ons, as there's already plenty of videos for that. I'm going to assume you have a basic understanding already of World of Warcraft UI setup and are looking to incorporate different parts of my UI into yours. Before I begin, I want to mention something very important. If you want to succeed playing this game, especially as a healer, you need to have a good working understanding of your UI. You don't need to know the ins and outs of every setting, but you should be able to make small changes or add or remove spells from your frames or weak auras to help your visibility. Just because I'm a high-rated healer, if you copy my UI, that doesn't make you a high-rated healer, but watching my videos might. If you're installing any of these add-ons for the first time, like weak auras or voodoo, be sure to play around with them a little bit. Go check out a video or a guide to learn how to use them. It's going to be a nightmare for you down the line if you just copy exactly what I have without knowing how to use them, and then a patch comes out that breaks something or an ability changes, or you simply just want to customize something. Now that I got that out of the way, let's get started. So the first thing I get asked about on my UI a lot is my weak auras in the middle of my screen. It's just a nice way to show skills that takes up a little bit less space. I have a link for my weak aura package in the description. It was not originally made by me, but I've modified it a little bit. If you open up your weak aura menu, you just go to new aura and import and paste that mess in there, and then bam, it's working. Should be easy plug and play. The next thing that I want to talk about is my voodoo frames. They're going to be a little bit tougher to copy, but there'll only be a few things that you need to do. For voodoo, I'll have a link for that in the description as well. You simply just go to tools and import it in here. After that, you may want to set up your mouse over macros. If you haven't used voodoo before, I don't think these come with profiles. I think these are separate for each user. You go to spells and then mouse and keys local, and this is where you can put in any spells that you want to use mouse over macros for. If you're already using this for in the in-game macro window, then you don't have to do this, but I find this a little bit easier. The next thing I want to talk about is bouquets. I'm going to pull up a video to help explain it since I'm not in a group right now. If you see the way that HOTS and spells are displayed on my frames, I have a lot of them. And I often get asked, how do you show this or how do you show that? You can generally do this on any frame add-on. This is just how I do it in Voodoo. So don't think that you have to change your frame add-on just to get this working. You may just have to figure out how to do it in yours. So there's two different ways that Voodoo shows buffs or like cooldowns or whatever. The first is just listing them one by one. So for example, my Rejuve, my Regrowth, and my Life Bloom are all listed all the time, and nothing will ever be shown in that slot except for those three. The next thing is what's called bouquets. A bouquet, in terms of Voodoo, is just multiple HOTS or buffs that are on the same slot so that it doesn't clutter your screen. It'll only show the one with the highest priority that you set up. I use both individual HOTS and bouquets for setting up my UI. And for whatever reason, bouquets need to be imported separately from UI. So if you're just importing my profile, you may not see this stuff, especially the rows on the end of the party frames. So to get that set up, you open up your Voodoo options, you go to General, and then Bouquets, and this is the list of all of them. There's a few in there by default, but I have all mine set up manually. The links are in the description of the Voodoo profile link. There should be 4 of them. All you need to do is go to import and paste in that mess, and then bam, you have them. If they're still not
Hey,
working,
Tubby's
you
girl,
go
thank
to
you. Or
panels,
Chels.
hot icons,
Chels, thank
and
you for
this
that
is
raid.
the
I
list of
appreciate you.
everything that's shown. You can change how it's displayed on yours. This is just how it is on mine. So you can see for the first 3 is just hots, and then the 4 through 7 are bouquets that I have set up. Make sure that you click the drop down and you have the bouquet selected after you've imported it. If you ever want to see what's in there or change the order, you simply just go to edit. It opens up this other window again. You can see this is just a small one that I have set up with a few less common hots. For instance, Grove 10, Cenarian World, Cultivation, and Wild Growth are all on one spot. And that should be it with Voodoo. After setting up your bouquets and your mouse over macros, you should be good to go. But there are a few other things that people ask about my frames. Again, we'll go back to this this clip that I have. The one thing is the party cooldowns on the left side. This is a weak aura, not a function of Voodoo. So you can do this with any party frame that you use. I'll have a link for this in the description. Be sure to read through the link in the description, and you may need to read through comments if this isn't working for you, because there may be certain dependencies or certain settings that you have to enable.
That sucks.
Another common setup is when you import it, it doesn't automatically import in dungeons, so be sure to check the loading conditions of the weak aura to see that it's loading where you want it to. For example, mine, if you open my game back up, doesn't load in town. It only loads when I'm in a dungeon, so you won't be able to see it just sitting around in town. The other one, which is almost identical to that one, is the targeted party spells. This puts a little icon in the middle of their party frame when they're being targeted by an ability. Hopefully when we fight this blob, you'll be able to see that. So you can see right here in the middle of my frame, you see that little icon that shows that the tentacle is targeting me with Mind Flay. This, again, is a weak aura, and you can do this with any add-on. It's not a function of Voodoo. You just simply copy the weak aura that's in the description, and that will get working for you. Again, it may have certain dependencies that you need to install if you don't have that already. Next, I want to talk about my nameplates. I use an add-on called KUI Nameplates. I don't have too much customization on it. It's mostly just standard. I'm sure there are lots of other people with good nameplate profiles. Again, you could use Plater or LVUI nameplates. Anything that you use is fine. This is just what I use. One thing that I get asked a lot about is I don't show party health bars in dungeons. You can see on my clip here, you can see my party members, but it doesn't show their health bars. This is, again, you can do this with any nameplate add-on, or even I think with base UI. This is just how I do it. In KUI, you go to the CVERS tab. You may need to check this box. This is just enabling advanced options, if you will. And then there's a checkbox that says high default health bar. You can see it requires a reload. And so you can play around with this to get the health bar hidden so that you can still see the nameplates on your allies without having to see the health bar. Since you're a healer, you should be looking at that anyway.
Hey, thank you for the follow.
Next, we'll talk about OPI, or OPI. This is an add-on that I use for my potions. It simply allows you to bind a lot of spells to one button, and then it gives you a circle, and then you can move your mouse in a direction to activate it. I really only use this for potions because I use, let's say, 7 or 8 or even 9 different potions in a dungeon, and I think it's a waste to use hotkeys for every single one of them. You can use this for lots of cosmetic things too, like mounts or whatever, or maybe food buffs or scrolls. A lot of people see this and they're like, man, what is that? Is that a weak aura or something? So this is actually an add-on called OPI, O-P-I-E. The next one that gets asked a lot, I'll go back on my dungeon run, is the spells on the left side of the party window.
Jesus.
This is not a function of Voodoo. This is actually a separate add-on. I mainly just use this for review. My brain is certainly not big enough to be watching these spells on the left of my screen, knowing what all my teammates are casting. The add-on is called Trophy GCD, and along with OP, I'll have all the names in the description if you want to get the exact spelling of everything. Also, Trophy GCD is this little window here on the top of mine that shows mine. All of these scrolling ability displays by each frame is Trophy GCD. I generally only use this for review, so I can see what's going on after when watching it. I almost never look at any of this while I'm in a run. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is my timer add-on. I don't use the default dungeon timer. Not that it does much, but I just like the way this one looks a little bit better. It's called Mythic Plus Timer, all one word. And if you like the way this looks, you can just download that on.
Thank you,
I don't
thank you,
think I
thank
did
you. I
any
appreciate it.
configuring for it, and it'll look like that for you too.
We're doing
Another common timer add-on that
just
people
fighting.
use is called Gotta Go Fast. So maybe you could try that one if you wanted to see how that one looks as well. That's it. That mostly covers the frequently asked questions about my UI. Hopefully, if you were having problems with voodoo bouquets or the targeted spells weak auras, I answered your questions enough to get it set up for you. If you have any more questions or anything else that you see on my screen, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll try and get to them when I can. Happy keying, friends.
Why is it not placed yet? Except. What's good, Solid Shadow? How you doing? Hey, thank you for the follow.
Satisfy your sweet tooth with the sweet treat from Perkins Bakery. Order your fresh baked faves today.
Welcome, Specimen, to Monday. Today is the start of a brand new week, and what we go over today is something we went over, I think, 10 days ago, 11 days ago, a while ago anyways, which is to take a look at the raid again. Now, because as you know, and as you might be well aware, as you go deeper into the tier, there is less and less new stuff to talk about. It's always interesting to talk about how the raid is progressing as long as there is something new happening, right? The first weeks of the tier, when things can develop differently, there can be surprises, etc., etc. But then, you know, the raid at this point has been out for over 2 months, so we are starting to get way more of the same thing every week we go by. So we have to start adding some interesting things. A few weeks ago, we looked, for example, at the deaths. We looked at which specs were more likely to die, which specs were wiping the raid the most, which...
I need music. I have to do it later. Let's go. Thank you for the raid, by the way. Chels, I do appreciate you.
Leaving all my pain in the rear view, cause I don't wanna deal with it. Got more problems than 99. I wish that it was 99 so I can make some time for mom and I and breathe some more for my kinfolk. But I'm stuck out here in the real world. You're goddamn right, I've been broke, so I'm getting it, I'm living it. When shit pops off, I deal with it. And I learned real quick how to be a man when I was living in my truck eating Peter Pan. And it's not real far from where I'm at. I remember that, getting paid with rap. Now imagine that, I'm a brand new man, put the truck in drive, I'll pack my bags. And if you're not shotgun, I'm good with it. I can rise alone, I'ma die alone. I don't need nobody but my fucking self. I'ma ride this shit like a rodeo. I got more room in my resume. Going worldwide, get paid today. Getting criticized and I'm really brave, but they can never really take my bars away. Cause I'm breathing them and I believe in them. And I'm rapping all my stress away. Photoshop the scars on my heart. It'll beat a little better, but the pain will stay. And I'm never turning back from the road I've come. I stand by all that shit the same. And I'll take the blame cause I lit the flame. And if you stand in the way, I'm taking aim. Got a wallet in my pocket, $1 for my soul, praying for tomorrow, living on the road. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive, avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye. Got a wallet in my pocket, $1 for my soul, praying for tomorrow, living on the road. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive, avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye. easy knowing that's never give my pain away. Cause I can bear with a man normally can't and fall with a fall I'd lay awake. And I toss and I turn to the 808 and my heart beat eating like a drum. And I go with it and I roll with it. Cause I'm alive and I drive on the road with it. From the pen to the pad to the boot to the fans, I'm living in my glory days. I'm kicking it up on the clock out 9, figuring out what my stories say. From the Blue Lagoon to the fire and feeling my boot prints on that fucking map. And you can bet your ass it took a lot of hard work. From needle in my arm to the beat of my heart. Let's go. I want my moment. I'm wandering and I'm roaming. I'm a ride it like I stole it. I'm a real fucking problem. I'm a rock star and a modern day outlaw. We're at war if you're praying for my downfall. I know I'm chosen. I'm open to any omen. A showman and my component is that I'm a broken poet. I'm a rock star and a modern day outlaw. We're at war if you're praying for my downfall. Wallet in my pocket, $1 for my soul. Praying for tomorrow, living on the road. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. Avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye. Wallet in my pocket, $1 for my soul. Praying for tomorrow, living on the road. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. Avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye. Wallet in my pocket, $1 for my soul. Praying for tomorrow, living on the road. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. Avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye. Wallet in my pocket, $1 for my soul. Praying for tomorrow, living on the road. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. Avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. This hunger in my stomach is keeping me alive. Avoiding every moment that I gotta say goodbye.
Where do I get that from?
We all know the climb can be hard and frustrating. But it doesn't mean you have to go at it alone. Just use Professor. You can view everyone's strengths and weaknesses before the match starts. See how you play compared to your elo, all live and in-game. And learn how well you performed when the match is over. Professor helps you become the best player you can be. Reach the rank you deserve with Professor. Get it free now.
I need to go back. Oh wait, no, I need that open.
Is where the most difficult.
So for talents, I've kind of found one setup that I like that I run most of the time. There's not really too much deviating that I do here in keys. Miswrap is boost your enveloping miss. Both of these other talents aren't great. Tiger's Lust, really, really good utility. Chi Torpedo is definitely really fun to use, but I think generally speaking in dungeons you should be using Tiger's Lust. Manatee, I think, is the go-to here. You might see some people encouraging either of these other talents. I think they're fine. In my opinion, in dungeons, Manatee is going to be the best bang for your buck, and it's going to be the most efficient, and we'll talk about in the rotation section why. In this row, I'm always taking Ring of Peace. Ring of Peace is just super, super powerful in Mythic Plus. In this row, as a default, I generally take Diffuse Magic. If you're unfamiliar with dungeons, if you're brand new, you can take Dampen Harm. The difference is that Diffuse Magic is better, but it only works on magic abilities. So if you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's magic and what's not magic, you may just want to press Dampen Harm, and then that way you know it's going to work for everything. But Diffuse is going to be 60% DR against magic, whereas Dampen is going to be 20 to 50%. So just keep that in mind. In this row, I'm always taking Chi-Ji. Jade statue got nerfed quite a bit. It only lasts 7 seconds now. And Jadewin, okay to use sometimes, I guess. But as Chi-Ji is like basically our only good cooldown for Mythic Plus, so we definitely need that. And we can take Rising Mist in this row too. Being able to extend your Renewing Mist and your Essence Font feels great. It actually does a fair bit of healing as well. Let's see if I can, I was doing so. Okay, here's an overall too. We can look at this just for data. This is a pretty typical overall. This is a theater plus 20, I think. And you can see that Ancient Teachings doing a bunch of healing here, about 30% of my overall healing. Then the rest of my healing comes from my Gust of Mist, my Essence Font, my Renewing Mist. You can even see Rising Mist doing a nice chunk of healing there. So this is, and then here's my damage breakdown as well. Again, my damage not super high. My gear isn't great, but you know we don't have too many damaging abilities here. Okay, so let's talk about rotation.
30%?
So Mistweaver is about maintaining your HOTS and then mostly just doing DPS, right? So your 2 HOTS that you want to maintain, Renewing Mist, keep using Renewing Mist on cooldown. You're going to have 2 charges. If you have Thunder Focus T, it might be a good idea to pair Thunder Focus T with Renewing Mist as well, just to make it last longer. And then we're just dealing damage. So the priority is very, very simple. The first thing that you do when you go into a pack, you want to damage all the mobs. Crane Kick is good for that. Remember, it only hits 5 targets, so if it's a huge pack, you may want to move around a little bit. Make sure you spread the love. Then our priority is simply Rising Sun Kick, then Blackout Kick, then Tiger Palm. And then Blackout Kick. Eventually, Blackout Kick may reset your Rising Sun Kick, and then you use Rising Sun Kick again. And you just keep maintaining Essence Font, Renewing Mist, and then DPSing. Pretty simple. Now, sometimes, let's say you're dealing damage, you're doing your fist weaving, and that isn't enough. Either because A, there's maybe swirlies on the ground and you need to step back, or someone on your team is taking really, really heavy damage, right? The go-to right away is you start channeling your Soothing Mist, then you can press Enveloping first to boost the healing, and then you're just cranking Vivifies until they're full health. Now, one change that I didn't mention in 9.1 is that you can cast both Mana Tea and Thunder Focus Tea while you're channeling Essence Font. So let's say you step back, use your Soothing Mist, then you realize that they need a lot of help. You can press your Mana Tea, then press your Enveloping, and then start cranking Vivifies, and it's going to be really, really mana efficient. So you can see now how Mana Tea and the rotation fits in really well. Most of the time you're just in here, you're using your Renewing Mist and your Essence Font, you're dealing DPS, then maybe something happens or someone is in danger, you might step back or you can even roll out or do whatever. Then you just pop your Mana Tea, press Soothing Mist, and then start cranking them with heals. Eventually the situation starts to stabilize, then we can get our Renewing Mist up, our Enveloping, and then we just go right back to DPS. Generally I'm trying to use my Thunder Focus Tea on my Rising Sun Kick, just because Rising Sun Kick is good at both extending HOTS, dealing damage, does good healing, so that's the button that we want to use it on. We can also use it on Renewing Mist. I think that's totally fine too, just making it last longer. Keeping your Renewing Mist and your Essence Font up is going to do a bunch of healing in the dungeon as well. And in an emergency, you can also use it on Enveloping or Vivify. Using it on Enveloping just gives it a little bit of heal. You know, if you're worried that someone's going to die while you're channeling while you're using your Enveloping here, you can use your Thunder Focus on it just to give it a little bit of healing. And using your Thunder Focus on Vivify just saves you mana. And if it's a situation where you're starting to run low on mana, you're getting worried, there's that. So now let's talk about Crane. So the way Crane is going to work is you're going to throw out the bird. Every 3 single target DPS abilities, so only sorry, let me rephrase that. Every 3 non-Tiger Palm abilities, so either Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, or Spinning Crane Kick, not Tiger Palm, will give you a charge. Every 3 charges, you get an instant cast Enveloping Mist. So the goal when using Crane is we're going to use Crane, we're going to hit 3 times, and then we're going to use our free Enveloping. Hit 3 more times, use free Enveloping, and we're just going to keep doing that over and over again on whoever is in danger. One thing you can do is use a couple Tiger Palms early to build up stacks of your teaching of the monastery. Then we'll pop our crane. We'll immediately use blackout kick. That's going to give us 3 stacks here. We'll throw out that enveloping. So our general rotation is going to be rising sun kick, tiger palm, then blackout kick. That's going to give us 3. Then we'll use our free one. Then if it doesn't reset, we'll use 2 tiger palms and then a blackout kick. That's going to give us 3. Another one. Then we go rising sun kick, tiger palm, blackout, and then we go another one. And now you can see with more haste how you can be really, really potent during this GG. The more haste you have, the more DPS abilities you're using, the more enveloping mist you're throwing out, and that's going to do a ton of healing, especially if you have a little bit of mastery or you have some mastery soulbinds. Generally speaking, with Kyrian, I find that using Weapon of Order with Chi-Ji is a little bit overkill. Chi-Ji does a lot of healing as is, and I feel like it's not really necessary. However, if you know, let's say there's a situation where, oh, there's 30 more seconds left and it's tons and tons of damage and you need a lot of help, you know, you may as well pop your Weapons of Order with it anyway. Just gonna, you know, if you know that the fight is only gonna last 30 seconds and you can use both of these back to back, it's fine. And last, I want to talk about utility. So Mistweaver doesn't have an interrupt, but one thing that's really, really nice about Mistweaver is you have a lot of really, really really nice out of the box. When I say nameplate specifically, I guess I should explain. It means
so. Let's see something. What alley first? Tools.
This is for the dreamers. All the doers and schemers with side hustles galore. The I got nexters and the why not meers. And everyone hungry to make it on your own. You're ready to step up and turn that passion into a paycheck. To do something awesome. We're here to make it official. Start your business and keep it running with LegalZoom. LegalZoom, let's make it official.
Yes, there it is.
Means the names above the tops of characters. So one thing you'll notice in town is all the nameplates are super pretty. You can see their colors. You can see it as a nice font. You cannot do this in dungeons and raid instances. This is because there are rules about modifying friendly nameplates to trivialize mechanics. So even though you see this and my nameplate's looking like this, you can't do this in dungeons. If you go to my let's go back to my dungeon footage, for example, you'll see my nameplates are different. Just the old school ones. One thing that you will notice, this is beta footage, so it's old. I actually have health bars disabled. KUI has an option to disable.
I already have an 18, right? Yeah, I have an 18 top in time. Where is my holes here? Alright, well, I gotta that. Let's see if I can find a key around here. I guess I could just finish setting up my monk. He's almost level I want. Now, let's see what I can get into here. 19, I don't need. Never mind. Yeah, we're just gonna play the monk until later, I guess. Well, actually, you know what? Oh no, reconnect. I do stream from PC. Yes, sir. It's the only way to play World of Warcraft, actually. I just get on my Demon Hunter. That sucks. I'm gonna send my monk some money though. I think I'm done playing my Demon Hunter. He's up to gear. Kind of. How long have I been streaming? Or how long have I been playing WoW?
Man, I've been playing for weeks now and I've made hardly any progress in this game. You should switch to Raid Shadow Legends. Yep, and you'll get a legendary champion in your first week of the game. And not just any legendary, but a legendary based on one of the top gamers in the world right now, the one and only Ninja. Yo, that's crazy. Ninja the boss slayer? Yeah, Ninja hits super hard and is awesome against pretty much any boss in the game. Having him this early in game will have you level up in no time. Play now on PC and Mac.
I got locked up because I'm an idiot and didn't learn from my past mistakes, but beforehand I streamed for probably 2 years, but I couldn't get that account back, so I'm starting fresh again. Set up my voodoo here. Spells.
Oh guys, I'm going to my new video and this is a good one. We'll be looking at the Vendir Mistweaver Monk Guide because this is the highest HPS heal in the game right now. This build is relatively new. It's been around for quite a while, but I finally got the time to sit down to look at the stat priority, to look at gearing, to look at talents, both in Mythic Plus and Raids, to look at the playstyle and how to optimize it. And this is the video on how to play. the best HPS healer. Let's go. So first and foremost, why play a Ventier Mistweaver Monk? What are the advantages and disadvantages? We'll be looking at some of the real play information, the most popular builds that are out there. We'll also use questionably epic to determine the stat priority and some of the gearing options. So what is the main advantage of Ventier Mistweaver Monk? And this is the real play information using sub-creation. Again, I love using this website because it uses real play information. A lot of the times, what is the most popular usually equates to being the best. The most popular legendary build for Mistweaver Monk in raid situations, in Sanctum Domination, at this given point, is Sinister Teachings. And this is your requirement for this build. You need this legendary in order to optimize your Fallen Order uptime. And the uptime is pretty interesting. And again, you can look at some of the most popular conduits and soulbinds. You can see Venti, Theodar being very popular. You can see the builds here. We'll talk about all of this and conduits a little bit later on, but I just wanted to showcase that in raids, it's the most popular build right now for Mistweaver Monks. And if we go to Mythic Plus, it's not as clear cut right now. Sinister Teachings are coming up. You can see here being the second most popular build, and I think it's gonna climb and climb and climb. In my personal opinion, if you're looking at logs, I don't think the Ventier build is as potent in Mythic Plus as it is in raids, because in raids it is absolutely insanely good. But don't get me wrong, you can run Ventier and the Ventier specific Covenant Legendary both in Mythic Plus and raids and have an amazing time in terms of the pure throughput, the DPS, the viability. It is an overall great build. This is the HPS shards for healers in Sanctum Elimination. Again, Mythic 75 percentile, so if you're playing a class relatively decently, you're probably gonna see some sort of numbers like this. Mistweaver is absolutely dominating, and a lot of these are going to be Ventier. It's just insane. You are going to be topping meters. Or you should be topping meters every single fight as a Mistweaver Monk. Especially Ventier Mistweaver Monk. The amount of pure HPS you can achieve is just nuts. I don't know if Blizzard's gonna nerf this, because I think Mistweavers deserve to kind of be at the top for a little bit. If you're looking for a healer that's the best HPS in basically all content out there, there is no question that Mistweaver, especially Ventier, is going to be your main choice. So now that you decided to check out Ventier Mistweaver Monk, you swap the Ventier. What are the next steps? You need to get 48 renown in order to get Sinister Teachings or learn this legendary. Once you get the renown, you're going to get the legendary. And again, where are you going to craft the legendary? This is not actually as clear-cut option as you might think. You can craft it on wrists or ring. And the difference between the two is not that big, with ring probably being the more popular option. But generally speaking, if you have, for example, max item level 252 rings which have crit on them, go and craft the legendary on your wrists. Or for example, maybe you're getting the wrist from Terragu, Mythic Terragu, the first boss in Sanctum Domination, or buying it because there is a BOE wrist, craft the legendary on ring. I personally myself have...
Obviously. Got all of those. Oh, it's probably right here. Oh, it's not personal though.
Really nice out of the box. When I say nameplate specifically, I guess I should explain. It means the names above the tops of characters. So one thing you'll notice in town is all the nameplates are super pretty. You can see their colors. You can see it as a nice font. You cannot do this in dungeons and raid instances. This is because there are rules about modifying friendly nameplates to trivialize mechanics. So even though you see this and my nameplate's looking like this, you can't do this in dungeons. If you go to my let's go back to my dungeon footage, for example, you'll see my nameplates are different. Just the old school ones. One thing that you will notice, this is beta footage, so it's old. I actually have health bars disabled. KUI has an option to disable friendly health bars in the CVERs, I believe. Hide default health bar. This is a command. You can just use this command in game. You don't need KUI to do this. Nameplate show only names is the command. I think you just set that to 1. I don't believe KUI has profile imports and exports, unfortunately, so I can't upload my KUI profile, but it's very, very similar to how it is out of the box. I don't have too much customization on it. The next add-on I want to talk about is hpally. This is one that you haven't seen very often lately, but once I start getting into serious stuff and using consumables, you'll see it more. This is a radial wheel that appears around your cursor when you press a button, allowing you to bind multiple things on the same button. I covered this in my keybind video, but I'll go over this briefly. I usually don't put too many like combat abilities on this, but I do put like consumables or out of combat things just to save up space. So for example, I might have 5 or 6 different potions on one spot, maybe one for damage, 2 different mana potions, so on. So this add-on is really easy to set up as well. Once you have it installed, you just /hpally, you go to custom rings, and you can set up a new ring or pick an old one, and you just go in here and add whatever you want. You put a hotkey here. You see mine is Shift F. There's tons of other customization. I don't use a whole lot. You can rotate it to put what you want to see.
Import.
The next add-on I want to talk about, I don't have footage of it right now, but it's my add-on to show the timer in dungeons. This one right here is the default timer. I have one that's a little bit cleaner. The add-on is called Mythic plus Timer, all one word. I'm sure when you refer back to this video after watching my stream or later videos, you'll be looking for that. I will leave a link for that in the description. The last thing that I want to talk about is my LVUI. So on live, I do use LVUI for a very small amount of things. I have LVUI, for example, on my target frame, you can see here, and also LVUI does enhance some of the options in like the character screen. I don't think it shows like this normally. I think the talent screen is a little bit different. I would recommend that you just figure out how you want to display stuff for yourself or use LVUI for yourself. I don't really use LVUI for much. I'm going to leave a link to my LVUI description or profile in the description. I'm going to warn you though, it doesn't import very well because I have nearly every feature disabled. It doesn't save what is disabled and what's enabled, so you're going to have to import my profile and then disable all the stuff that I disabled, and it's probably going to be more pain than it's worth. And I would recommend just adventuring down your own path or setting up your own UI with LVUI at least. So that covers everything I wanted to talk about for UI questions and setup. Thanks for watching. I hope this answered any questions that you had. If it didn't, or if I missed anything, leave a comment and I'll try and answer them on this video. And then that way, if someone else has the same question, they can see it down there.
Why is it not working? That's one question.
Why cook when you can click? Order all your home-style favorites to go through PerkinsToGo.com.
Hello fellow Mistweavers, welcome to my first video of Mistweaver Monk.
Fuck it. Oh, it's being a pain in my ass, but it is. So. Hey, Federal. Thank you for the look. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's right. All right. Oh, I'll be right back, guys. I gotta use the restroom. back actually. Oh, nothing to do on my pally, so figuring out my muck, I think. What's good with you, Federal? Alright. Well, not gonna get much done. Oh. What am I gonna do here? Mystical, nice. Jesus, there's still glyphs in that. Alright.
Yeah, it's not just speed teams. 16 factions, hundreds of champions, 0 cartoons. Heroes that look like heroes. Raid, Shadow Legends, fight, grow, win.
Wait, am I? No, I don't want to tank. Damn it.
Keep pressing the attack.
Hi, hello, welcome. Can I interest you in some voodoo? No, not the you come get the voodoo kind of voodoo. I'm talking about Voodoo, the Click to Heal add-on, which you definitely should go and get right now, if you haven't already. If you already have it installed, then I bet you're here because you tried playing around with it and you just couldn't figure it out. Don't panic, that's what I'm here for. It might look intimidating, but it's actually quite simple to set up once you get the hang of it. First, what is a Click to Heal add-on? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an add-on that lets you click on a player frame to heal them. For example, right-clicking will cast Penance on the person whose frame I clicked on, while left-clicking will allow me to cast Shadow Mend. Shift, Control, and Alt modifiers can be used as well, so if I hold Shift and right-click, then I dispel my ally with Purify. These are just the keybinds I use, of course. You can set up the add-on however you'd prefer. I don't think you need an add-on like Voodoo to be a good healer, but it's very useful and gives you the same or similar advantages that healing with mouse over macros offers, while being infinitely less complex to set up and maintain. It also ensures your main keys, like 1 through 10, are free so that you can switch to DPSing in your downtime if you so choose. Before we set up the add-on, I want to lead with a bit of a disclaimer. I am not a healing pro. I do not push Mythic rating or Mythic Plus dungeons. Instead, I'm pushing middle age and live with chronic pain thanks to losing the genetic lottery. I also have to work with ADHD. As you can imagine, that means my reaction time isn't always great or even good, but if you're like me, all is not lost. I've been using Voodoo since Wrath to heal, and it's made healing not only possible for me, but fun too. If you somehow won the genetic lottery, first of all, I am very jealous, but congratulations. And secondly, I imagine you'll get even more out of using this add-on than I could ever hope to. Once you have the basic knowledge of how the add-on works, you can take and build upon that information to make profiles that really suit your playstyle. Now, let's get into the game and set this add-on up from the very beginning. Alright fellas, here we are on a fresh druid that I have boosted because I'm stupid. No, because I thought it might be best to show like something completely fresh or logging onto a character for the very first time, but it's high enough level that it has spells, and who doesn't want like 400 druids on the same server, right? So here we are, we're gonna log in. She's balanced spec right now because they don't let you select resto when you boost, which is a crime, but I'm sure they just don't want you to get stuck trying unsuccessfully the quest. Ooh boy.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome
King Rin
aboard.
needs every hero. The shattering of the sky has everyone on edge,
I can't
including
skip
the Scourge. Let's pass the time by brushing up on your battle skills. Let me know when you're ready to get started.
But I don't... Are you serious? Can I skip this?
Well met.
Well, first I guess I'm gonna set up my add-ons and fly through this, whatever this is. I'm sure that it will be easy. Oh, would you look at that? We made it to Stormwind in one piece. Oh, good. Okay, now for Voodoo. Voodoo is in this upper part of the screen, and it looks like a mess. It has three parts here: the buff watch, the private tanks and NPCs, and then group 1. The first step is we're gonna try to clean up this UI a little bit. These panels are not things that I use, mainly because they're just not worth it to me. But you can find guides on how to set these up, or to even delete them and then set them up your own way, if they would be useful to you. If you're mostly a raid healer, you might want separate panels for your tanks. But I usually just heal dungeons or raid finder, and I don't need them. So the first thing that I always do is go to my minimap, and I use this add-on, minimap button bag, to get all of my add-on icons into one collapsible menu. It's so useful. And then I find the Voodoo icon, which is like a blood elf head, and I right click it and uncheck show buff watch. Now that's gone. And then I'm gonna go back to this. Oop. There we go.
I'll deal with that later.
And left click on the icon. And it'll pull up this panel.
I can't get...
So to get rid of the private tanks and NPCs, we're going to go to move on the bottom tab. And it pops up all of these things that I can get rid of. So, can get rid of these two. If you need the private tanks, just don't get rid of that particular panel. If you don't need any of it, just get rid of all of it. And you're going to hit OK. So now this is all that you have left. Whoa. There we go. This is the main Voodoo panel for healing. when you're in a party, this will show everybody. You can make these panels pretty much as big or small as you want. Voodoo is a very versatile add-on. And as you saw from some of the clips that I shared at the beginning intro, this isn't what my panels look like at all. Now, I'm going to kind of go through how you can set them up to look similar to my panels, but you don't have to do what I do. You can do whatever you want. Everything works a little bit differently for everyone. I actually went with default frames of this size for literal years. I only made them bigger in the last couple of years as I've gotten older and my eyesight isn't as great. So if you like the compact look, go ahead and just keep it just like this. It doesn't hurt anything.
What are you doing?
For an example of what it's going to look like
I'm going to listen though. Fuck it.
in a full party,
Mooned it, huh?
you can see this right here. These will all be filled with people. So the first thing you're probably going to want to do, especially if you use Voodoo on the right side of your screen like I do, my husband uses it on, I believe, the left side of his screen, but everybody's a little different. Some people like it up here, some people like to put it down here below their character. I just like it right up here on the right side so it's not near the middle of my screen so I can still see. But something that you're definitely going to want to do is go to the Panels tab down here and change the max columns to 5.
I'm down. Let's go.
Just so that when you do have a full raid group, it's not stretching off of your screen this way. Or a big just horizontal line of parties. This way they're all grouped up in a way that you can kind of... Sorry, let's test a 40-man. I mean, with these small frames, even 40 people is completely doable. Completely doable. If you want to see a 20-man, it's going to look like this. Pets get their own section. As you can see from the clips that I shared, I take the pet one off, which I just exit off here. And then I recreate it as a completely separate panel. So I'm going to do that now so you can see me do it so you know how to do it. So you just X off on the pets tab right here. And now you will never see pets, which means you can take your panels and actually set them down to 4. So if you had your 40-man group, that's what it would look like. We're going to stay here, and we're going to click Add. Here's a new panel. We're going to press this little plus sign.
Fuck.
Choose. Type is special. And the value is, this is where you have main tanks if you are wanting to make your own tank panel. But I'm going to pick pets. And hit OK. So, this is where I keep pets down here.
The other side, though.
And that's because some people like to delete pets and never look at them, but if you've ever healed a dungeon where the tank has died and a hunter has, put growl on their pet, or a warlock has put taunt on their voidwalker, then it feels kind of dumb to not be able to heal the pet if they are literally the last thing standing between you and a wipe. So, being able to heal pets is very useful to me. You may want to keep the pet panel smaller so that you can still use it, but it's not taking up a big section of your screen. I like to make mine the same, but I can definitely see why people might like a smaller one for their pets. So, next step is going to be panel size and headers. So now we're going to go to panels, and we have this right here. None of this matters a whole lot. You can fiddle with the settings if you like, but we're going to go first to headers, and we're going to uncheck show. I don't need headers. I don't use them for anything. Alright, now we're going to go to sizing, and you can play with the Y gap and the X gap and the spacing just to see how you like it. I would leave the panel scale at 1 times. You can definitely adjust these numbers so that the border around the edge isn't as
in BFA
big.
What?
I like to keep a little bit of a border, and that's because you still have to be able to get the thing to drag it around, and you pretty much have to click on the edge to do it. So having like just a little border there you can click on is, for me, worth it. But you can always go to the move and then move it around if you need to. So next we're going to change the bar height, and if you drag it down, you can make, you can make these like really big if you want to. I wouldn't, but you can.
Okay.
You can do so much stuff with this program. Okay. So, let's say we're going to make it, I usually pick like an even number, or...
Why can I not get... Alright, yes, because
if I can get one.
Get it.
And then I think I like to make these like about 125 or 130. Let's say 130.
We missed.
Not 150.
Okay.
Again, these are just things that I like. I like the bigger panels. Makes it easier for me to see, especially with a druid where you have a lot of hots that you're gonna...
Let's be honest. No one has ever said, I love my endless shaving routine, or I just can't wait to have to shave again tomorrow. It's a never-ending chore that you have to put up with to achieve what you really want. Smooth, hair-free skin. That's the real reason why you're...
Hello friends, this is Growl. It's been a while since I posted a video. I've been really busy both with MDI stuff, with my new partnership with Golden Guardians, as you'll see by the GG-themed cat, as well as just playing the game a lot. However, it looks like there's some really interesting news back in WoW, and a very big developer update posted about patch 9.1.5, so I thought I'd come out of hiding a little bit and hopefully start posting some more regular videos. This is a banger. I read through this once and I thought, wow, this is definitely going to deserve a video, and think this is going to interest a lot of people. So, they posted a big developer update about patch 9.1.5. It's going on PTR within a few days, they say, and there's some big news. So first, the big one.
Videos.
A higher key.
Yes.
Really, really fast stops on mobs. You have 3 different ones. You have Ring of Peace, which I don't think these guys will get Ring of Peace, but just pretend they did. Ring of Peace can be used to both group mobs, keep mobs away from the tank, interrupt mobs if they're using an ability, push them out of Sanguine or anything like that. Ring of Peace is a really, really super good ability, and your use of Ring of Peace will definitely be noticed in groups. You know, again, as a Mistweaver, you may feel like, oh, I'm not a Holy Paladin, I'm not a Shaman, no one wants to invite me. Using these good Mistweaver-specific abilities is what's going to get you invited into keys. Another thing is your leg sweep and your para. So what I like to do is I like to set a target on focus that I may need to para to interrupt going into the pull. Remember, I don't have a kick, but... Hello friends, this is Growl. I get asked on my stream often about different parts of my UI. So I wanted to compile a video about the most frequently asked "what is this" questions, and also help with some of the common troubleshooting problems when setting up. This is going to be an intermediate level guide. I'm not going to go over in detail how to install or set up basic add-ons, as there's already plenty of videos for that. I'm going to assume you have a basic understanding already of World of Warcraft UI setup, and are looking to incorporate different parts of my UI into yours. Before I begin, I want to mention something very important. If you want to succeed playing this game, especially as a healer, you need to have a good working understanding of your UI. You don't need to know the ins and outs of every setting, but you should be able to make small changes or add or remove spells from your frames or weak auras to help your visibility. Just because I'm a high-rated healer, if you copy my UI, that doesn't make you a high-rated healer, but watching my videos might. If you're installing any of these add-ons for the first time, like Weak Auras or Voodoo, be sure to play around with them a little bit. Go check out a video or a guide to learn how to use them. It's going to be a nightmare for you down the line if you just copy exactly what I have without knowing how to use them, and then a patch comes out that breaks something or an ability changes, or you simply just want to customize something. Now that I got that out of the way, let's get started. So the first thing I get asked about on my UI a lot is my Weak Auras in the middle of my screen. It's just a nice way to show skills that takes up a little bit less space. I have a link for my Weak Aura package in the description. It was not originally made by me, but I've modified it a little bit. If you open up your Weak Aura menu, you just go to New Aura and import and paste that mess in there, and then bam, it's working. Should be easy plug and play. The next thing that I want to talk about is my Voodoo frames. They're going to be a little bit tougher to copy, but there'll only be a few things that you need to do. For Voodoo, I'll have a link for that in the description as well. You simply just go to Tools and import it in here. After that, you may want to set up your mouse over macros. If you haven't used Voodoo before, I don't think these come with profiles. I think these are separate for each user.
I gotta check
You go to spells, and then mouse and keys local, and this is where you can put in any spells that you want to use mouse over macros for. If you're already using this for in the in-game macro window, then you don't have to do this, but I find this a little bit easier. The next thing I want to talk about is bouquets. I'm going to pull up a video to help explain it since I'm not in a group right now. If you see the way that HOTS and spells are displayed on my frames, I have a lot of them. And I often get asked, how do you show this or how do you show that? You can generally do this on any frame add-on. This is just how I do it in Voodoo. So don't think that you have to change your frame add-on just to get this working. You may just have to figure out how to do it in yours. So there's two different ways that Voodoo shows buffs or like cooldowns or whatever. The first is just listing them one by one. So for example, my Rejuve, my Regrowth, and my Life Bloom are all listed all the time, and nothing will ever be shown in that slot except for those three. The next thing is what's called bouquets. A bouquet, in terms of Voodoo, is just multiple HOTS or buffs that are on the same slot so that it doesn't clutter your screen. It'll only show the one with the highest priority that you set up. I use both individual HOTS and bouquets for setting up my UI. And for whatever reason, bouquets need to be imported separately from UI. So if you're just importing my profile, you may not see this stuff, especially the rows on the end of the party frames. So to get that set up, you open up your Voodoo options, you go to General, and then Bouquets, and this is the list of all of them. There's a few in there by default, but I have all mine set up manually. The links are in the description of the Voodoo profile link. There should be 4 of them. All you need to do is go to import and paste in that mess, and then bam, you have them. If they're still not working, you go to panels, hot icons, and this is the list of everything that's shown. You can change how it's displayed on yours. This is just how it is on mine. So you can see for the first 3 is just hots, and then the 4 through 7 are bouquets that I have set up. Make sure that you click the drop down and you have the bouquet selected after you've imported it. If you ever want to see what's in there or change the order, you simply just go to edit. It opens up this other window again. You can see this is just a small one that I have set up with a few less common HOTS. For instance, Grove Tending, Cenarian Ward, Cultivation, and Wild Growth are all on one spot. And that should be it with Voodoo. After setting up your bouquets and your mouse over macros, you should be good to go. But there are a few other things that people ask about my frames. Again, we'll go back to this this clip that I have. The one thing is the party cooldowns on the left side. This is a weak aura, not a function of Voodoo. So you can do this with any party frame that you use. I'll have a link for this in the description. Be sure to read through the link in the description, and you may need to read through comments if this isn't working for you, because there may be certain dependencies or certain settings that you have to enable. Another common setup is when you import it, it doesn't automatically import in dungeons, so be sure to check the loading conditions of the weak aura to see that it's loading where you want it to. For example, mine, if you open my game back up, doesn't load in town. It only loads when I'm in a dungeon, so you won't be able to see it just sitting around in town. The other one, which is almost identical to that one, is the targeted party spells. This puts a little icon in the middle of their party frame when they're being targeted by an ability. Hopefully when we fight this blob, you'll be able to see that. So you can see right here in the middle of my frame, you see that little icon that shows that the tentacle is targeting me with Mind Flay. This, again, is a weak aura, and you can do this with any add-on. It's not a function of Voodoo. You just simply copy the weak aura that's in the description, and that will get working for you. Again, it may have certain dependencies that you need to install if you don't have that already. Next, I want to talk about my nameplates. I use an add-on called KUI Nameplates. I don't have too much customization on it. It's mostly just standard. I'm sure there are lots of other people with good nameplate profiles. Again, you could use Plater or LVUI nameplates. Anything that you use is fine. This is just what I use. One thing that I get asked a lot about is I don't show party health bars in dungeons. You can see on my clip here, you can see my party members, but it doesn't show their health bars. This is, again, you can do this with any nameplate add-on, or even I think with base UI. This is just how I do it. In KUI, you go to the CVERS tab. You may need to check this box. This is just enabling advanced options, if you will. And then there's a checkbox that says high default health bar. You can see it requires a reload. And so you can play around with this to get the health bar hidden so that you can still see the nameplates on your allies without having to see the health bar. Since you're a healer, you should be looking at that anyway. Next, we'll talk about OP, or OPI. This is an add-on that I use for my potions. It simply allows you to bind a lot of spells to one button, and then it gives you a circle, and then you can move your mouse in a direction to activate it. I really only use this for potions because I use, let's say, 7 or 8 or even 9 different potions in a dungeon, and I think it's a waste to use hotkeys for every single one of them. You can use this for lots of cosmetic things too, like mounts or whatever, or maybe food buffs or scrolls. A lot of people see this and they're like, man, what is that? Is that a weak aura or something? So this is actually an add-on called OP, O-P-I-E. The next one that gets asked a lot, I'll go back on my dungeon run, is the spells on the left side of the party window. This is not a function of Voodoo. This is actually a separate add-on. I mainly just use this for review. My brain is certainly not big enough to be watching these spells on the left of my screen, knowing what all my teammates are casting. The add-on is called Trophy GCD, and along with OP, I'll have all the names in the description if you want to get the exact spelling of everything. Also, Trophy GCD is this little window here on the top of mine that shows mine. All of these scrolling ability displays by each frame is Trophy GCD. I generally only use this for review so I can see what's going on after when watching it. I almost never look at any of this while I'm in a run. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is my timer add-on. I don't use the default dungeon timer, not that it does much, but I just like the way this one looks a little bit better. It's called Mythic Plus Timer, all one word. And if you like the way this looks, you can just download that on. I don't think I did any configuring for it, and it'll look like that for you too. Another common timer add-on that people use is called Gotta Go Fast, so maybe you could try that one if you wanted to see how that one looks as well. That's it. That mostly covers the frequently asked questions about my UI. Hopefully, if you were having problems with Voodoo Bouquets or the targeted spells weak auras, I answered your questions enough to get it set up.
I don't care about the bouquets no more, because guess what? We got them. Oh, you guys are a little too ambitious there, I think. Spells, shift. That's what I figured. Finish it, fuck it. I want to actually play hpally now, cause hey Moon, what are you doing? And I am in. I said both. I am though in what do you call it? Few hours. I am, or 2 hours. I go to work, dry my clothes. Fucking, I'm gonna get dressed here shortly. Try to get my pally up. Getting my monk ready to level tomorrow, actually, because of what you call it. Time walking. Ooh, a 19 necrotic awake. I'm down. Let's see if I can get into that since I got an 18 done. Probably not, but I'm gonna try. Yeah. I'll be right back. Put my clothes on, my work clothes. Try to hit 2.2 on the pally. Oh, fuck. I'm back. I think when 9.2 comes out, I'm maining monk. I'm pretty sure I am anyway. We'll see. I got what? Hey, I got hosted by Bossmaster and Tubbs. I didn't know Bossmaster hosted me. Okay. Why is that using Divine Toll? Or, not Divine Toll. Spells. That's what I thought. Aw. See if I can get any on any of these, I guess. Damn it. See. Moon, if you're still around, you have a good day too. I don't know if you're still around, but if you are, you have a good day too. Storm one's right there. Bless it. Let me in a key. That sucks. Oh, I can't wait. Alright, we're doing a mist. Before I go to work, how it works. What's up, Black Rose? What's going on here? How you doing though, Black? That's why they hurt so much. Makes sense. Ooh. Hold on. Oops. Alright. I gotta get serious here. This ain't even fucking. I don't understand. Oh god. Jesus, Tank, pay attention. Oh my god, I'm still fucking. Why? Can't believe I'm still fucking. What do you call it? Bye, Bailey. You done. Why you keep fucking moving him? Jesus Christ. Garbage. Now you move him. There you go. Dang, great. This is crazy. I understand it, I guess, but Jesus. Jesus. Really? Oh. Fuck it. Oh, what are those? Sure that you don't have any other applications that are heavy on CPU. Enable performance editor.